Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Free Zone. We've got Rustin Watt in with us tonight. Coach Watt, what's going on? Coach Watt, you're muted. You're going to have to unmute yourself. Are you with us, Coach?
All right. Coach Watt.
There we go.
Out of Liberal, Kansas. Sorry, guys. Had a little lag there. This is my fourth year coaching at Liberal High School, my fourth year coaching with Willie. And Norm here, it's been a joy. If you know Norm, you got a plethora of knowledge. All right, you learn something new every day when you're around Norm. So that's been a lot of fun. And, man, I hope we still get a few more years together.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one of the first things we're going to talk about a little bit is how COVID-19, and of course, we've been talking about it all season. We'll continue to talk about it all season, I'm sure, how COVID-19 is affecting the course of the season. One of the good things for us at Liberal is Chanute canceled their game with Ulysses, and we were able to pick up Ulysses for this week. And that's much better than having an open date, and also much better than what we were looking at, which was like a 5.5, 6 hour drive to Coffeyville. So, Russ, why don't you tell us what you're looking for this week against Ulysses?
I'm looking for us to be able to beat man coverage, us to be able to pick up the blitz. I think we've got the edge and some speed at the back with our backs to their backers and outside on the edge. And just hope we can stand up defensively. It's a good week to get a little physical. A Ulysses team, as far as I know, and they're always going to be scrappy. They're always going to be mean. So you got to be able to answer that. Yeah,
absolutely. Ulysses is usually a physical ball club. They've run the wing T for years, and they'll line up and run that at you. I know it looks like they're trying to run a little more spread this year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I honestly was disappointed when we quit scheduling Ulysses every year. I'm glad to see them back on our schedule. To me, it's a great game. It's a great natural rivalry. You got two schools of similar size. I realize we're a little bigger than they are, but two schools of similar size that sit there an hour apart. It ought to be a rivalry game every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember it would have been my freshman year in that game when they had Sosa and Heckle and those. Yep. Oh, that was a team right there. That was a good team.
Absolutely. They've had some great teams over the years. They really have. Yeah. Hey, in the news Monday afternoon, it was kind of breaking news. All the Wichita news outlets suddenly were carrying the story that Derby, that's the defending 6A champion, that their entire football team had been quarantined for the next 2 weeks. And, of course, that was going to mean the cancellation of 2 games, one of which, by the way, was Derby's homecoming. Okay? Well, everybody kind of went with that story. As a matter of fact, I can remember the coaches Monday at practice talking about it a little bit. But by Monday evening, about 11 o'clock or midnight Monday evening, Derby's AD tweeted out that the games are still on. They have not been canceled. It turns out, after a little investigation, Derby only had 94 players quarantined. And my thought was only 94. But apparently,
nice.
Yeah, exactly. I've done a little checking since then, and apparently Derby has somewhere in the neighborhood of 165 kids out. So 94 kids still left them with a pretty good team to play with the next couple of weeks. Now, since then, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure of this. This is not coming from a news source. This is coming from hearsay. I believe that what happened was that their entire freshman squad has been quarantined, and their JV squad, basically. And there may be a few varsity players, but it was mostly freshmen and JV that ended up being quarantined in the end. So yeah, the Derby is still on. But yeah, that just shocked me,
Oh
the
man,
fact that they had that many kids out. How would you like to have that many kids out for football, coach?
Willie, I would love it, and I would
Yeah,
love to have some of those guys.
yeah.
Man, I remember last year. What was it? Three or four of their front five over 300 pounds. Left tackle went to Nebraska, and success. It breeds that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And the
people want to
first
get on board.
yeah, the first two games, they lost to Mill Valley in the first game. And then the second game, they had a close game against Newton, I believe it was. And I remember thinking, wow, Derby may really be down. But then they came back last week and they got by Bishop Carroll in a pretty convincing fashion. I think a 2-touchdown win over Bishop Carroll. So they were rolling again, before this happened. So we'll see how it affects their momentum. If it is just freshmen and JV players, probably not going to have a lot of effect on their momentum.
No.
And yeah, if the numbers I've heard are true and they've still got 70 some kids to practice with, they're going to be just fine,
Absolutely. That's about our top end on a good day, right?
Yeah,
there.
no kidding. Hey, something else too when it comes to, by the way, locally, we've had some schools that have been affected by COVID-19. Okay. Perryton canceled their game last week and they're canceled for Friday. Hopefully after that, the Rangers will be back in action. I don't know that for sure, but we'll see. Meade canceled their game last week and they've canceled for this week as well. And that's going to bring up a complication that we're going to talk about here in a minute. And that is they're getting into district play. Okay. And Sublette canceled last week, but I believe they are playing Friday. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check that, but I believe they're playing Friday. So we've had some local teams that have been affected too. And then the next closest team I think would be Nest City, and Nest City's a ways away. That's up north of Dodge quite a ways. For those of you that don't know where Nest City is, okay, that's on up north of Jetmore. So we've seen that schedules are very fluid and they're going to continue to be fluid. Hayes, I noticed, lost their homecoming game against Abilene. Not this game, but the next game, which I think was going to be their homecoming game. So that Hayes was still looking for an opponent last I knew. I don't know if they found anyone or not, but last I knew they were still looking for an opponent. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in the WAC that's lost games just recently. I think that may be it. Obviously Chanute had to cancel because that's who Ulysses had, and we were able to pick up Ulysses. So there have definitely been some cancellations around. But what I see, not just the recent cancellations, but looking at the bracket, the west side of the bracket in 5A and 6A and even 4A is relatively untouched. But the east side of the bracket is not. Okay. In 5A, there are 5 teams in the east side of the bracket that are not playing this year. So that went from a 16-team bracket down to an 11-team bracket already in the east.
Those Valleys
here are the 5 teams. Actually, Blue Valley is back and playing. Okay. They've got one game under their belt, but Blue Valley is back and playing. So is Shawnee Mission. And so is Olathe. All those schools are back and playing. Here's who is not playing, and it's the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. KC Schlegel, KC Sumner Academy, KC Washington, and then Topeka. The Topeka USD is not playing either, and that would be in 5A, Topeka Highland Park and Topeka West. Yeah, so those 5 schools. Those 5 schools in the east side of the bracket are out. So the east side of 5A, which is important for us because we're a 5A school in football. So the east side of the bracket in 5A is only 11 schools instead of 16. Now on the west side of the bracket, so far, everybody's good. Okay. Now I'm just going to go over the west side of the bracket and I'm sure you know who they are, but you can listen to it and then we'll talk about who's the strength of the west side of the bracket. The west side of the bracket is Goddard, Hayes, Mays, Hutchinson, Wichita Northwest, Wichita Heights, Mays South, Cape and Mount Carmel, Andover, Bishop Carroll, Valley Center, Salina South, Goddard Eisenhower, Salina Central, Newton, and Liberal. Okay, and that's the west side of the bracket. Who do you think is the favorite in the west side of the bracket?
Well, because we were able to see them, and they're just methodical. They're physical at the point of attack.
Yeah.
They can beat you multiple ways. Big, I'm looking at Capon right now, and I see a really good team right there.
Yeah,
no doubt. Some of the others just haven't seen much yet as far as film.
Yeah. One thing I would throw out there, Carroll's also in the west side of the bracket, and Capon was a 1-point loser to Carroll in week 2, the Holy War. Okay. But yeah, I agree. Capon looks good. They really do. Hayes has looked strong at times, a
little inconsistent, but they've got some real dudes especially on that defense that can fly around.
Wichita Northwest should be a strong team, and one that I think has surprised a couple of people by being as strong as they have is Hutch. Hutch off to a 3-0 start for the first time in a while, So yeah, I think the west half of the bracket in 5A is going to be tough. It really is. We're also missing a couple of teams in 6A, so let's take a quick look here. I'm looking here on my iPad. A couple of teams that we're missing in 6A are on the west side of the bracket. We're missing Topeka High. Kind of crazy. That tells you how Eastern-centric 6A is.
Yeah.
Topeka High is in the west half of the bracket. Yeah. So we're missing
Willie,
Topeka.
Kind of disappointing to me is seeing some of those schools on the east side playing compared to some of those that are not. And I just see some kids that really need football right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, I understand the safety aspect of it, and I want to keep all kids safe as much as possible. Yeah. At the same time, maybe it's because we're football coaches and we were football players. We understand that football is an inherently dangerous sport, And so I'll admit sometimes football coaches and football players may not be the best judges of what's dangerous, At the same time, you're right. There are kids that absolutely need football in their lives. There really are. And I'm not saying every kid is that way, but at every school, there are kids that football is a huge part of who they are. It's a huge part of why they get up and go to school in the mornings. And for some of them, it's even potentially a big part of their future, And so it's great that most of the state, those kids are getting an opportunity to play. It's too bad that we've still got some that aren't, but it's great that in most of the state, they're still getting an opportunity to play.
Absolutely.
All right. So on the east side of the bracket, here are the teams that are out so far in 6A. And one of them is a Blue Valley team, but I assume that they're going to be playing soon because the rest of the Blue Valley schools are. And that is Blue Valley West.
Stillwell?
No, Blue Valley West. Blue Valley West. KC Harmon and KC Wyandotte. And again, those are Kansas City, Kansas public schools. Yeah, now, like I said, I know that the Blue Valley School District is playing now. Blue Valley West may just have not been able to. Maybe they've had some kids quarantined or something like that. But to the best of my knowledge, Blue Valley West will be playing soon, okay? So I don't think they're going to be out for the playoffs. I think they should be back in by the playoffs. So really that leaves us with 2 teams in the east side of the bracket and 1 team in the west side of the bracket in 6A. In 4A, if I remember right, I believe everybody is playing. I'm just going to double check that bracket.
That's not bad.
Yeah, there are no teams showing 0-0 in 4A. So in 4A, everybody's playing. In 3A, I believe everybody has played at least some games. Double checking 3A here. Yeah, in 3A, everyone has played at least one game. So everybody is playing in 3A. By the way, 3A starts district this week. They'll be playing district games this week. And one of the things that the state's going to have to make an adjustment on is what if somebody has to cancel a district game, okay? Because in the way that's worked in the past, because of the point system, is if you forfeit one district game, you forfeit all of your district games. And I'm hoping that the state will realize that that's not going to be a tenable situation this year. You know, hopefully the state will realize that and they'll make some kind of an adjustment. And they may already have, and I'm just not aware of it. You know, but I do think if they have not already, the state's going to have to make some kind of an adjustment there. 2A. Let's see if everybody's playing in 2A. 2A also has 6-team districts, so they'll be playing district ball this week. And we have one team that has not played a game in 2A. That is Lions. I don't know about Lions. Hutch. Yeah, well, kind of back to the southwest of Emporia. Yeah, they probably are kind of by Hutch too, but they're on 56 there. You know, if you're headed to Emporia on 56, they're right there on 56. So yeah, looks like that's it. Lions is the only one in Class 2A that hasn't played a game yet, and they may or may not be playing. I'll have to do some research and find that out. In 1A, and again, here in 1A, you have either 6 or 7 team districts. So they've already played some district games in 1A. But it looks like everybody in 1A is playing. Yeah, everybody in 1A has played at least one game, it looks like. So everybody in 1A is playing. I believe we do have a couple of 8-man schools that aren't playing. In 8-man Division 1, looks like everybody in 8-man Division 1 has played at least one game. And in 8-man Division 2, there's 2 teams, Blue Valley Randolph, again, a Blue Valley school, okay? Did you know that there was a Blue Valley 8-man school? A lot of people don't realize that. Oh, it looks like we've lost Rustin. Okay, so Blue Valley Randolph is 0-0. They have not played a game yet. I would assume, like Blue Valley West, they may be playing soon, but I don't know that. They may be small enough that they've had some problems. And Lynn would be the other 8-man 1 school or 8-man 2 school that has not played a game. So Blue Valley Randolph and Lynn are the 2 8-man 2 schools that have not played a game. And 8-man schools, yeah, they're into district starting Friday. So 3, 2, and 1A, they're all they either have already started district play or they're in district play Friday. Okay, so the small schools are in districts from here on out, and so any cancellations from here on out could potentially have big repercussions. Okay, all right, Rustin. Weston. Bleh.
Yes.
Here we go. This is something I've been wanting you to do every Saturday. I pick the games from the WAC, the HPL, the GWAC, and the Southern Plains Iroquois League. Okay. We don't pick liberal games. Other than that, we pick all the games. Okay.
Don't want any Pete Rose action going on here.
Exactly. So I'm going to go over the games with you, and we'll talk about them, and then I'm going to get a prediction from you on each game. Starting off in the WAC. Okay, and which, again, we ought to know a little better, right? So, game 1 in the WAC is 3-0 Hayes at 1-2 Garden City. What do you think about that game?
I'm going to go with Hayes.
Hayes?
The defense is stout. Garden, missing a few guys from last season. Got to see how they answer back from that. But, yeah, I got to go with Hayes there.
I picked Garden City. I realize Hayes is the favorite. I picked Garden City just because I have a feeling Garden City may be stronger than people have given them credit. Week 1, they played a tough game against Manhattan. Yeah. Week 2, they lost a close one, and so I think I think Garden City may be stronger than they're getting credit for. Okay, game number 2, Dodge City versus Carroll. Dodge City's 1-2, Carroll's 2-1.
Carroll.
Yeah, I picked Carroll also.
That's a different beast right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think Dodge City's got enough to stay with Carroll this year. And the third game out of the WAC, Great Bend against Cape and Mount Carmel. Great Bend, of course, is Great Bend's 0-3, Capen's 2-1. Yeah, I agree. I picked Capen as well. All right, now we're going on to the High Plains League. How familiar are you with the High Plains League, Rustin?
Not too.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. All right, so the 6 teams in the High Plains League, I'll tell you who they are, and then we'll go over the games. Okay, so the 6 teams in the High Plains League are Syracuse, Lakin, Southwestern Heights, Sublette, Elkhart, and Stanton County. Okay, those are the 6 teams we're talking about. All right, so game 1, 3-0 Syracuse, which, by the way, Syracuse is off to their best start in 30 years, I think. Okay, so 3-0 Syracuse at 2-1 Thomas More Prep.
I'm going to ride the wave.
Okay, you going to go with Syracuse?
I'm going to ride the wave. Yeah.
I picked Syracuse too, although Thomas More Prep a lot of times is a pretty darn good team.
I'd like to be Syracuse crawling out of the gutter right now.
Yeah. All right, we've got 1-2 Lakin versus 1-2 Ellis, but let me give you a little background, okay? Lakin's 2 losses are to Goodland, and it was a close game, and to Stratford, Texas. Okay, their 1 win is over Elkhart. Ellis, I can't tell you who their 2 losses were to, but Ellis plays. You know where Ellis is? They're right up there west of Hayes, so they play a lot of those Mid-Continent League schools.
What was the first team's record again, Willie?
They're both 1-2. Both teams are 1-2. But Lakin, I know, has lost to 2 quality opponents.
Quality teams.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Lakin. Lakin was pretty solid when I was playing too. They had some dudes.
All right. The next one is 1-2 Southwestern Heights versus 1-2 Cimarron. Now, here, a little background. Cimarron's 2 losses are to Holcomb and Colby. They're in the GWAC this year, okay? Their win is over Scott City. Southwestern Heights' 2 losses are to Texhoma, Oklahoma, and Holcomb, and their win is over Sublette.
I'll take the Mustangs.
Okay. There we go.
I'm taking an upset here, Willie.
There we go. That's good. All right. And
now Cimarron, some big old boys.
Yeah.
But I think they got some speed and heights getting to the edge. I've seen them switching it up, spreading it out a little bit.
Okay. And here we go. We've got 1-1 Sublette versus 1-2 Whitewater Remington. Don't know for sure that this game will be played. Sublette had to cancel last week because of COVID-19. I think they're on for this week, but I'm not 100% sure. And this is a district game too, by the way. Obviously, all of these are district games for these schools. I know nothing about Whitewater Remington, by the way, so I can't help you there. I can tell you Sublette has beaten Stanton County and lost to Syracuse. Okay. We've got 0-3 Elkhart versus 0-3 Wichita Independent. Let's see.
Elkhart.
Okay. And 0-3 Stanton County versus 3-0 Sedgwick.
Could you say that one again, Norm?
Yeah, we've got 0-3 Stanton County, Johnson, versus 3-0 Sedgwick. Oh, we lost him again. You still there, Rustin?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're still there. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're
there we go. All right. Good. What were the records on those, Willie?
Stanton County's 0-3. Sedgwick is 3-0.
Well, we'll go with Sedgwick.
Yeah. Sedgwick's looking pretty tough, to be honest with you. Okay, now these will be teams you might be a little more familiar with because you've at least seen these teams on film, some of them, okay? This is the GWAC. Right. I'm not going to make you pick the 8-man games, okay? We'll just do the GWAC and then we'll stop.
That'd be a disaster.
Okay, so here we go. We've got 3-0 Colby versus 1-2 Smoky Valley. You've seen Colby on film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colby,
I'll go with Colby there.
Okay. Colby, of course, has wins over, let's see, Hugoton, Southwestern Heights, and Cimarron are their 3 wins.
And Hugoton is a really good team.
They are, yeah.
It's a solid team.
Yeah. 3-0 Holcomb at 0-3 Nickerson. Holcomb's wins, of course, yeah. Holcomb's wins have been quality wins. They've beaten Scott City, Ulysses, and Cimarron. Yeah. 2-1 Goodland at 1-2 Scott City. I think maybe you've seen both of these teams on film.
Yeah. I'll go with Goodland.
Okay.
They got some good stuff going on. I think,
Yeah, got a little momentum.
Yeah, it's starting to breed.
Okay, this one to me is a tough one. 2-1 Hugoton at 3-0 Cheney.
I like that quarterback in Hugoton. I'm going to go with Hugoton.
Okay. Yeah, he throws the ball well. He really does. Friday night when we were playing, I was listening to our game on the radio. Of course, for those of you that don't know, I was still in quarantine Friday night. I missed 2 games in a row. I think the first 2 games I've ever missed as a coach. But I was listening to our game on the radio, and I was watching Guyman and Hugoton with the volume shut off. And, yeah, that kid can throw the ball. All right. And the last one out of the GWAC. Oh, no, wait, that's our game. We don't pick our game. I should have been reading ahead. I forgot we were playing Ulysses this week. So that's it for our picks. Okay. Hey, we're about out of time, Rustin. Anything else you want to say to the people listening, or about any of the teams in the area, or anything before we go?
Man, just everybody out there playing. You never know when it could be your last one right now. We're in a world of uncertainty. So just, really cherish it, really approach it every day with that in mind. Who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're going to shut us down, whatever, eventually. I pray not. But if not, you got to make everything count and make all that time together with your family count right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I think people sometimes forget, is that those football teams are a family, okay? And those guys that you played high school football with will be your friends for the rest of your life, or at least that's been my experience and the experience of most of the people that I know, so it definitely is. It's another family out there. And for some of our kids, unfortunately, it's to a certain extent the only family they've got, and those are the kids that need the game, and so when we talk about those kids that need the game, those are the types of kids we're talking about. Yeah, I see a lot of good matchups this coming week. I'm really looking forward to this coming week. I'm looking forward to our game at Ulysses. I'm looking forward to being back on the sidelines, obviously. I think we've got I think we've got some great matchups coming this week. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what happens Friday. And I will be back Saturday afternoon to talk to you about it. And we'll do the Saturday breakdown at 2:00 Saturday afternoon. Remember that In the Free Zone is a production of Back Home Media. You've got the Back Home Media's information is here at the bottom of the screen. Back Home offers a lot of great services. They've got a great stable of podcasts right now, and they're becoming more and more active on different platforms. And so check out Back Home Media on Twitch, on Twitter, on Periscope, of course, iHeartRadio, Spotify, as well as Facebook. You can see all of Apple Podcasts. You can see all the sources of Back Home Media down there at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so check out Back Home Media, and thank you for being a part of In the Free Zone. We'll see you Saturday afternoon for the Saturday breakdown.
Well, I don't think and I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to display for the salt, to disgrace in its arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain. rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone. Settle